The fact that you have to like build it around Sakura means you're kind of committing to 2 slots for it. But it's really strong damage. Like for a light magic, I know he's like outclassed, but like with the later ones, but it's insane damage. And evolving them is kind of free. If you get like an egg and then 50 bullets after grinding him up, which grinding him up is terrible, he really slaps. Like, and bullets are pretty late into the game update. So getting him and evolving him for like nothing is pretty hype. Who's next? Who's more dirt? I guess. I guess the next one I'll say is Jotaro or Jotaro. The main reason is it's still annoying to get discs. I know he's got like the time stop and great physical damage, but his unevolved form makes it so that you have to carry yourself through these legendary stages. In which case, subbing somebody out for his evolution, it has to be worth it, and I don't think most of the time it is. So that's good. I mean, I put him in good. He's nearly the top. Let me do this because we're now starting to talk about the good, and I'll just do that. I'll leave the recording in of the good ones. Okay, the next one I'd say we'll go with Brook. Brook's good. Placement damage I think gets near like is it 10,000? I think it's 10,000 for placement, even though it's like 10 seconds. You have to get to like upgrade 4, I think, before he evolves, which isn't bad. But yeah, it's 10k on placement. That's a pretty decent placement. His buff is like upgrade 4. It's not bad, but there's a better buffer. It's a better buffer than him in the game. I think if you do have him and he's your physical buffer, it's fine. But you do have to have some extra change to pull off his buff. Otherwise, it's going to be like you're just spamming 3 10Ks, which sounds pretty good, but not in this metagame. So it's like slow. Speed's pretty strong. Speed's one of those ground units that you can place 5 of and crit a bunch of times. It's very strong. Like doing the stages for him is easy. And then once you get him, you just have like a very strong physical ground. Like going safe with him is not bad. Like getting him in the shop is low key a W, and he's not talked about enough. Who else? I'll put Bang next. I'm putting him above Speed. People don't realize the tech with this guy. He has like this like true damage double buff on like upgrade 2. And the most of the time you're going to use him, his physical is like doing well. And there's not many water units in this game, especially not for physical. So when you do bust this guy out and you do like a quad placement of upgrade 2s, he'll slaughter early game. But he falls off late game. So he's kind of like one of these utility units that you use so that you can make early game with low cost just go smooth. And on the levels where it is physical, especially physical water, placing this guy as like a temporary deal with the problem and then turning it into I'm going to put my actual money into my meta unit is just like a tech that not many other units have. And then, since he's already just strong, he beats, like, all the other levels. Like, he's just very strong in general. Next, I guess I'll go with, I think there's a better one. How many more better ones are there? Let's get Natsu out of the way here. Natsu hasn't been buffed or anything since he came out in Magic Kingdom. And I know he looks really high up here. We can do the Fable now. I'm already at the play waiting for everybody. I'm like right next to you. Even though he came out such a long time ago, ice units just crumble at fire units. So getting somebody like this guy early, even unevolved, he just wrecks any ice units. And even if you have some of the most insane stuff in the no Dio section, this unit on your team means no more problems with ice units. Is anybody else coming to the Fable Infinite? Where Darkrai and I are sitting in front of the teleporter. Speaking of fire, we might as well knock out like most of the fire units here. These are all good ones to get. Like if you get these ones, they're good. Alkainu's the best of them, and he low-key should be like meta tier because he's also a hill. I have joins on. You can just find me. So, but Madara is also a fire unit. Any fire unit is just gonna have like way more longevity than any of the others because as long as they have ice stuff in this game, you need one slot in your team to be fire. So it doesn't matter. I don't even know why they're buffing this guy, but he's also now at like almost a 5,000 drop, I believe. I'm not sure, but he hits insanely hard now, and so is Madara. They hit harder than Natsu now, but I don't know. Natsu I used forever because they just didn't have any fires. I think we can do I guess 7 more. Yes, Fable Infinite right now. Yep. Okay. Let's get these guys out of the way. Yuto. Where's the other one? I know there's another one. I guess Boros. I think he's gotten outclassed by Boa. And then I think Chainsaw is just worse than Bane. Here's a couple other ones. For me, I guess she can be here too, but she's the better of the two. And I'll talk about them in a second, guys. And then he's the worst of the two. Oh, Shisui. I don't have enough room. Some of these guys are going to get bumped down. It'll probably be Angel that goes down. Hers is like a certain level thing. Is this all yet? Are you guys in front of it now? I don't see Cal. What are you doing, dude? Come on. I literally see the new guy. Lazy Twerky made it in here before you. Come on, bro. I guess Sasuke, yeah. A lot of these other people are pretty good. We're going to have to knock some people down. So let's go ahead and do Angel, JoJo, and then put All Might at the top of this dude at the top of this, Brooke at the top of this, and then Whitebeard can be at the top of this, and then we can have like Trunks, Toby, Piccolo can be down here. Top of meh. And then I just said they were decent, so let's keep them here. They're still in order. I'm just moving them down. Because I don't want S tier to have more than any other tier. Because it would make it look like you need to get all these guys. Okay, Hacha. It's a pretty good unit because it's in the... I really want to put Hacha S tier, honestly. I'll put her at the very tippity top of good for now. She will always go down, but it's this update. I'll explain in a second. Yeah, I already put Katakuri, didn't I? Yeah, I did. What, how much do I have to do? 4 more? 5 more? 5 more, okay. That's fine. So, I guess her... I kind of want to put Vegeta, honestly. Okay, we haven't loaded in yet. Mel, maybe? Yeah, Mel kind of got power crept a little bit. I hit yes. Is there any other bleeds? I don't think there is. He was the Merlin I was talking about. One more, I believe, but I think I'm still gonna have to push people down. Good luck, guys. Oh, I guess Perona. Hers is like not leash, but it doesn't come up as much as you think. There's one more. I guess because it is a leash thing, her. Okay, let's talk about good tier a little bit here. Okay, so I put in a lot of characters. So let's start with Yuto. Yuto got buffed, and his damage is like really, really good. But I think it's like on the same kind of like tier as somebody like Aizen. So it's kind of like this thing where hold on, I was placing in the game. It's kind of like this situation where you have to do like a fuck ton of dungeons and all this other stuff to get damage that would be better on like the other magicals that are already in the game. So it's good, and getting and evolving them is fine. You'll have an amazing ground, but there's better stuff out there. My thing for Boros is I'm still grinding for this guy, and I've seen his numbers, and not many people go out their way to evolve this guy, but it's still insane numbers. Gray is this high because he can just freeze ground or air. It's a lot to commit for CC, but it is a pretty good CC to have, as long as you're not screwing up your own team. There's a better bleed unit than Denji in the game, like I'll show later. So it's kind of like Denji is cracked, but if you get the other one, you're just better off with that one. Boa is arguably a tournament unit, but I think in most cases there's a better freeze unit than Boa, but having her on a team is amazing as CC. And speaking of CC, Katakuri has a slow. It's a good slow, and honestly it should be low tier if you ask me, because of the amount of other like high tier slows in the game. But since you can get this guy in shop whenever, getting him as your slow is just pretty good in most cases. Shisui is an amazing ground damage unit that does like a lot of damage. However, you do have to do like this Tomo raid stuff to get this insane damage, and it's the case of, okay, I already have strong team. Do I want it slightly stronger for like an ornament cost? Sure, but it's not necessary. As Death is another unit that should be tippity top, but the problem is a lot of the other characters just bring a lot more options than she does with her high cooldown. So 9 times out of 10, you're either bringing her to a tourney or a specific challenge. But overall, she does pretty good. Same with Sasuke. It's like the same take, except instead of his CC, it's like a more of a hybrid magical. But since there's stronger magicals in the game than him, and you have to do the Tomo stuff, it's kind of like this situation of Sasuke's really good and strong, but there's better stuff still, even though he came out more recently. As for Hachiya, I really, and I need to stress this to every noob watching this character, and you better be listening to this beanbag, this character is a hill. So that means if you get to level 25 in your battle pass, unevolved or not, this character can carry you through story. It's a hill. It has bleed. It has crit. It has it all. You bought the battle pass. This character hits so incredibly hard for nothing, no investment. You don't have to do anything. If you bought the battle pass, the whole thing, I don't mean paywall because you can play it for free. But if you bought the whole thing, level 1 account, you can go through the whole game. Except for like magic will be weird with the fire. But that's insane. That all you have to do is play the game till level 25 and you have a decent hill. Power, I really want to put her higher, but it really comes down to regen, daily challenges, and then tournaments specifically with regen. So it's just kind of like a situation where if you specifically build your team, this unit is so incredibly valuable. Otherwise, though, it's kind of like a winning more thing, but it's definitely not something to like ignore if you have it. She's incredible. All of them are. All of these I wish I could put in S tier for what they bring to the table. Meliodas is just still strong, especially with his Meliodas Bane. The problem I have with him is he's got like the cone. His damage is like worse than some of the no Dio tiered units. And you do have to go to the 7 Deadly Sins later stages and commit a lot to get this guy evolved. It changes the face of your team, but I've yet to use him ever since like the next 2 updates. Like I just haven't used him at all. Meg, okay, I bust this guy out all the time. This guy is basically super Blackbeard. He curses, so he just makes all your magic do more damage. He's an incredible support. You just plop him down and you don't even need to upgrade him. And it's guaranteed. Most of the time it's kind of like a situation where a lot of people don't have him. They don't know maybe even what he does. And I plop him down and it makes our lives easier. Not S, but just like the next one, Perona. They all have a common theme here. Perona is the only unit that slows air, I guess. Or maybe not the time freeze or whatever, but Growler, I guess, slows everything because it's hybrid, but it's kind of like a plop it down individual slow for like nothing. And she still hits pretty hard. You get the upgrade 4 and it's AoE slows, but if you're doing double slows or group stuff, everybody has the ground slow. They have the Katakuri or whatever. And then this little girl right here, she just hits hard. And then when you get to upgrade 7, her knocking stuff back and being like a hybrid is pretty insane for a lot of the stages where she's valuable. Being as strong as she is and then only having to do One Punch Man stuff makes it so that usually if you have her as your main DPS, she's not disappointing. So getting her is not bad. And now we're on to like the final tier. I'm going to put the little guys in first and just talk about them really quick, even though they're arguably better. Orwin, Wendy, I wish I could put more legendaries in common tier. Boma, and Speed. Speed and Boma are farms. I don't care what any of you guys say, you need farms to play the game. Wendy being a buffer is just like insane. If you have any magical, just her being like this hybrid buffer's hype. Orwin sucks overall for damage, but the thing is it gets you through so much of the game, and then people using it for stuff like tourneys or just challenges and stuff like that, it never feels like you should kick this guy off your team, but you can. But if you don't have an extra slot and you still have your Orwin, don't feel bad about using this legendary, even if his horses aren't worth it. Just get 3 of them to upgrade 3, and whatever physical unit you're using, just buff him. Don't worry about the damage of the horses, it'll just add on, I guess. Next is this dude. I stopped using him because there's like a better slow with a better AoE than this. But the fact that he's like fire and ice, and his slow is a pretty good cone and everything. He's kind of like a, if this other character didn't exist, he'd probably be the one everybody's using. And his damage isn't bad, but if you missed him because he's a limited unit, it sucks. And then for the next limited slow, you can really go either one, but this is the main slower of the game. Like, she should just be on your team with a relic. I'm probably going to put her near the top, but since I'm talking about slows, I'm just going to put them side by side. Yeah, good damage from her too. Next, let's go with Solfae. I'm going to go ahead and start dividing because she's going to be at the end there. Solfae's a physical heal. It doesn't often matter because there's a better physical heal than her later. And as a matter of fact, I'll put them side by side. These are the only two physical heirs. I don't know why people think this character is magic. Cell is a physical. And there are just so many instances where these physical heirs are useful. The thing is Cell is pure physical, while she is a wind physical. So she'll probably like help you out more if the element is in her favor. But Cell has a 4-hit attack that adds to double what his displayed stats are. It's an heir. I have to talk about this all the time when I go into this character. And it's so much of an error that the devs actually buffed him and he's still like the same. He still has this error. So now he's at the point where he hits for 50k as a hill. And his starting damage, if you pour like a big investment in it, it's actually like 36k. Like, I did the math on this. You can really get some high baller stuff if you get the skill ceiling. I really should do like a tutorial video on how to use Cell. The main issue though is you may pull Solfae in the shop and just do the bleach stuff and you have like a amazing hill to work with. Cell, you got to do a lot of raids, so that sucks. But Cell is incredible. I'd still use him myself, but the current strategy I'm using, he's fallen out of favor for me. And for people that are using fresh accounts, you can't do this method. So, just to put this out there, if you need a slow, you're going to have to settle with Katakuri. Unfortunately. So he's your actual S. But if you've been playing the game for a while, it's going to be her. And then I still bang on Cell for certain matchups. Next, this is a little leash, but I have to bring these guys up. Poochie, oh wait, no, they're gonna be higher, but better than Cell. So Sakuna just got a buff. Where the fuck is the last one? There's one more that has this, I guess. No, because he's the best one of that. Isn't there one more? I guess Vegeta. Yeah, I guess we can talk about Vegeta, Frieza. Or, you know what, no. No, I'm gonna say it. I'll do Aizen. I'm gonna talk about them. Is that it for these guys? I guess Vegeta. Yeah, Vegeta's here. Okay, let's talk about this really quick. So Poochie is like, if he didn't have the ability that he has, he'd actually be down here with the rest of the JoJo characters. But his ability is like sometimes mandatory for some like tournaments and even very helpful in like bullet areas and raids. He's kind of like this thing where you're telling your team, or even you can squeeze it in some cases, I'm going to buff everybody to make our life like really easy. So he's like if Ichigo was for everybody. So overall he just does like a lot of work for everybody, and if you happen to have him as like an anchor for your team, since it doesn't take too long to evolve him, it's annoying. But sniping this guy is like such a big deal that even if you're like a noob, if this is all you have and you're doing a group activity, you may just be doing your team a huge favor as a support. Like a support meta kind of situation. Speaking of support meta, Sakuna being buffed now when he was already like a menace at just like tier 4 or upgrade 4. This dude bringing cones and that effect of dismemberment, which like buffs physical and then like bleeds them a little bit, is like so cracked, especially for like it's good for any situation. Like I was rocking it forever before buff. I haven't used it in a minute because I'm really satisfied with my current squad, even though it's a little lacking on the air. But he is a unit that like is so easy to evolve. You just get keys from doing infinites in their level, and then you use those keys to beat like a womb like a couple times. Or I think after you get like the one finger, you get them from battle passes. So I think you can actually just avoid the event altogether and just evolve them like that. Aizen, I'm putting here. This is still S tier, so for the Aizen fanboys, it's not like Aizen's like trash. The thing with Aizen is he costs a lot, but his AoE like hybrid thing is like super strong. And same with Vegeta. I'll just talk about them together. They're super strong, but I don't find myself using them like as often as others because of their costs and like, yeah, and he's got a multi-hit. I just don't find them, I use them as much as I would sell. They're just kind of like situations where they're cracked and they're really good, but the thing about them is you kind of have to be like, okay, I'm committing to you this game. And that's fine, but Aizen is like really hard to get because you have to do that whole trial. And then Vegeta, you have to do like a lot of like raids, so they're just like annoying to get for like stuff that you could get better stuff. We're getting to them right now. Who do I want to put next on this? Okay, so I'll just knock these guys out real quick. Genos is the physical fire meta, like ground. Like he's the burn unit. If you get him and evolve him, his damage is equivalent to some of these, like not these guys, but it's a fire that does damage equivalent to like some of the metas here. So him being that like cracked damage fire unit, you can even use, even some tournament builds have them, especially if it's in the physical field. The Mangekyo Sharingan has really tuned him up a little bit. And I guess I'll just talk about the magical equivalent of him. If it's ever like a situation where you have to pick between the two, Itachi wins, but sometimes it's like physical is what better in the thing. So even though there's like a bunch of ticks for Itachi for 20, he's the play. And then evolving Genos is just easier than evolving Itachi. So they're kind of side by side, but if you have them both, Itachi most of the time is better, but not by much. Okay, by much, but like it's a very small like it's a noticeable amount, but not like a tier amount. Like they're definitely on the equal playing field in most cases, but you're always gonna lean more Itachi, but he isn't collecting dust. For meta bleed, it's gonna be Bane for me. Bane's like my go-to for bleed. He gets up to 100k. He doesn't cost much. His speed is pretty good. I don't find myself using that as much as them, so I'm gonna go ahead and put him under these two, but he's more useful than these guys. Alright, I'd say this guy's a little bit more useful than them. And for the Aizen lover, well, no, Vegeta earned it. So he's just the meta bleed that you want to get. If you don't want to bother with the strong meta bleed, just get Nabara, the legendary. But he's that guy for bleed. We're probably gonna have to push down these guys. Next, I'd say is Freezer. Freezer's got a weird learning curve for it, and I'm using him now because he just came out. But Freezer's kind of awkward, just like Vegeta and Aizen. But if you get him to like upgrade, I believe 8, you can have him hit for like 100 grand and just chill on that for the 3. He's the strongest like light magic user in the game, and getting him just like Vegeta's annoying, but it's not so bad. He is a hill too, so I think you getting him unevolved carries you through story. So, big W there. Next one though, I gotta do them side by side. I think Metal Knight's still stronger than Freezer. I think like for an upgrade tree, it probably leans more to Frieza at the start. But Metal Knight with the drone, especially since you can just casually upgrade this character or just leave him at the 80k. Most of the time he's just gonna do more work for you than Freezer is. However, because you have to wait for him to come down and all this other crap, since I already did the work for these two units, Freezer's the one I'm using. But I think for like what you should be using in your standard play or aiming for, Metal Knight's more valuable than doing Freezer raids. I don't really want to even rank deal because you need unique. I'll do it, but okay. Let me go into the next ones. I won't do her yet. Okay, so let me do the support. Gojo. I thought all the way back in Jujutsu Kaisen that this character was going to be trash forever. Like, I just thought his damage is going to get outscaled. Who cares if he can freeze the whole map? And weirdly enough, he just doesn't seem to go anywhere. Because there's just something about placing a unit and freezing the whole map that's just so incredibly overpowered in this tower defense game that you can just buy so much time for yourself or your team that you're playing with that he's always going to be valuable. The only drawback is he every update he's becoming more and more just a support. You're not doing him for damage. He's just a support. It doesn't matter how many eyes you built or anything. He's just there to freeze the map every like 10 seconds. But it's incredible. I wouldn't say it's better than the slow, because there are some cases where the slow is just better for your team, like in the selective spots, than waiting for this Gojo freeze to go off, because they can do it as much as they attack. And the next I gotta give it to, this is gonna make it look a little weird, so let's go ahead and do this. I gotta give it to Escanor, guys. Escanor is still kind of popping off. I want to get rid of him so bad, but there's just something about placing him in the early game, ignoring his ass for like 10 waves while I farm, and then by the time I come back to him, he's at 10k or whatever. It's incredible. And then upgrading him all the way to the 100Ks as an AoE. I love getting to that full AoE with this character. It feels so easy. It's like 3 waves after you go max farm. He's a fire unit, so you actually don't need Itachi and Genos specifically. To say they're not the meta burn units that for certain stages would be doing them not justice, but it's still like this situation. Yeah, go ahead. I think I missed the one banner. It's still like a situation where if you guys got Escanor last update and you're in the Dragon Ball Z update and you're like, I don't know what to do. Should I go for Freezer or should I go for Vegeta? I'm so behind. They're fine. You don't need them. They're like flex. They're like flexes. They're like no different than getting Cell right now as a physical air. Like, it's fine to get them. It makes the account more flexible. Like, a lot of these picks, the pros that I said about these characters can be brought into a lot of different situations. But Escanor's the guy that you want to get. Go for Escanor, evolve him, and you're set. You don't need the other guys. Escanor's still pretty good. I thought he'd be weaker, but I'm finding myself using him. He's still good. And then last, I did not, this one hit me upside the head really fast. I was told this character was trash. And then I was told this character is broken. And then I was told so many different things. And I find myself using this character more than even my Bulma. Nami is insane. For the people that missed Nami, I'm so sorry. But Nami is so cracked. 1000 placement, 750 to 1,500, and you're just scooping with relics. I have half a mind to re-roll traits until I get triple S's, and then give her something better than Superior 1, because this unit is insane. 30k for dirt cheap? Sign me up. And she's the hybrid. That makes you money. Like, no one else does that. Cheap, gets you money, hybrid, water, and magic. She's so incredible. And the best character, well, we all know Dio over Heaven is dirt unless you have unique. We all know that, right? Unless you got a unique, you might as well break your headset. Nah, but for real though, if you have unique Dio, you might as well have a Charizard, a holographic Charizard, because you just win at life if you got this. I don't know what it feels like, and for those of you that have it, oh man, you're lucky sons of bitches. I don't think his damage is that cracked, but I think he's just like the Gojo character that I was just going on about, but with damage.